Three, two, one, go. Hello and welcome to the EelectroGalaxy update number 29. Today we're doing something a little bit different. Um, as it turns out, as of late, Twitch has been very rude to me. All right, muted? Yeah, we're muted. Okay. So Twitch has been very rude to me in that it won't let me actually stream. And so I noticed that all my streams were just choppy and I couldn't actually make them out. So we're doing this on YouTube now. And
Which,
that'll be nice, I suppose, because now you can actually watch it live. I don't know if we're going to switch over to YouTube, though.
yeah, this is much more of a test run. Also, I'm Velitha, and Achela this time will be hosting it. I won't take over immediately like last time.
Yes, so today we're doing a website called Either. Either.io.
It's better known as Would You Rather.
Yeah. Well, I'm not familiar with these websites. I really wouldn't know. Anyway, it's, as you can see here, a set of two questions. You get to pick A or B, or rather blue or red. And over here on the top is your context. Sometimes it says would you rather, other times it's very specific. I learned that the hard way a couple minutes ago.
Yep, we
Honestly,
did
I've
a
never
test
been
run
on
of
this site.
a few questions just to make sure that everything else was going to display properly. Like last month, this is coming from my computer broadcasting it over to Achela. And
I'm
at
not
least this
liking
time,
how that looks.
I'm capable of sending 720p. Last time it was like 360 because the stream just decided, yeah, we're not gonna do this over Skype.
I don't know why, but apparently the stream over here is really grainy. It doesn't look anything like what I'm seeing on my XSplit, and probably yours either. I wonder if I should stop resending the video back over to you.
Go ahead and do that.
Okay, so let's get started. You get the first question. You
Alrighty.
over there, that guy.
All right. Would you rather Skittles or M&Ms? Well, without very much context to this, would you rather what Skittles or M&M? Would I rather have some Skittles or M&Ms, or would I rather be Skittles or M&Ms? Um,
You're delving too deep into this. Just assume what everyone else assumes, and say
no,
have them.
no, I must flex my autistic muscle where I don't understand the question. If I would rather have some Skittles versus M&Ms, I would pick M&Ms. Would I rather be a Skittle versus M&Ms? Well, based on the commercial, the M&Ms commercials, or would I rather do some extreme stunt for Skittles, or if I go even back further to the 90s, where the adults are looking like they're stoned watching Skittles rain from the sky. I would either way want to be an M&M. I'd rather have M&Ms.
You are in the minority.
I
That's
know.
surprising. Usually we're in the majority.
We were for the other questions, but
Yeah, this
sometimes
is the
it's good to
stream.
be a minority. Ready for yours?
Yep. Okay. This is one that you actually have to pay attention to the top. If you had your choice of portable game device, would you rather choose a Nintendo DS or choose a PSP? Well, I actually own a PSP, so I'm inclined to choose a PSP. On the other hand, since I already own a PSP, I'm more inclined to choose a Nintendo DS because it's a new experience. So I'd say DS.
And I would agree with you. But here's my reasoning based on, well, if you had a console, the question assumes that you can modify it in rooted DS versus rooted PSP. I
I
don't
never tried to
remember
root my PSP.
I don't know what the capabilities of a rooted PSP are, but the capabilities of a rooted DS is to be able to emulate pretty much every system from the N64 backwards, and maybe even a few. Well, I don't think the GameCube ones were possible, but I think N64 emulation works as well as GBA and regular GB. So Nintendo DS wins hands down for me. And is that your final answer?
Yes.
The reason I asked Regis Philbin, is that your final answer, is just to make sure before I click, because I accidentally clicked the wrong one repeatedly last time.
Yeah.
My
And the last stream, I'm like, yeah, so no. And you're like, yeah? Yeah. Okay, click this. No, the other one.
yep, mistakes were made. Would you rather never be able to remember anyone's birthday or anniversary, or forget every historical date from the past and why it was important? I already don't remember anyone's anniversary or birthday.
Except yours.
I don't know how old I am. What kind of question is that? Completely off guard. No, I don't. I have a really bad time with dates and numbers and when things happen. So both of these are basically already in real life. At least when you push the button, gives you upsides to the question.
It doesn't say that if you do blue, you will get red, or if you do red, you will get blue.
Yeah, it's just
There's no
would you
real
rather.
upside.
I already don't remember anyone's anniversary or birthday, but forgetting the past is terrible.
Okay.
Besides, if you forget every historical date rather than, just birthdays and anniversaries, if you assume the opposite, you could probably remember history and say, oh, right, this person had an anniversary last year on this day. You just can't remember the specific day it was. Ready for your
True.
question?
Yeah. Okay, would you rather drink a gallon of mustard in one sitting or use mustard as a toothpaste for 3 weeks? I think a gallon of mustard would actually be pretty hard. Also, what kind of mustard?
Yeah, that's a
My
very important
personal
question.
my personal preference is jalapeno mustard. That stuff is actually pretty good.
There was
So,
some Chinese hot mustard stuff that is pretty spicy, but I'm a wuss when it comes to spice. I can't handle it.
my limit is pretty much jalapenos. If you give me a habanero or a serrano, I'm like, nope, I'm out. Okay, so um I think that I would pick toothpaste for 3 weeks just simply because it's a lot less to deal with. And if I'm going to brush my teeth with fluoride versus with mustard, I think mustard would actually do more for my teeth as opposed to the fluoride, which is incredibly detrimental to all humans.
Well, fluoride is basically a cheap replacement for calcium that's a lot easier to be absorbed by the body. Mustard could actually work as toothpaste if you were to add salt to it. You would need either that or like calcium carbonate, otherwise known as chalk.
Well, it doesn't say that I can't add that.
Alrighty, final answer?
Yeah.
You are in the majority.
Yes. All right, your turn.
And a gallon of mustard in one sitting. I can't even handle regular mustard with regards to, like, here's a packet of mustard, now eat it. I couldn't even do that. A gallon of the stuff? That would make my stomach just explode.
Okay, so here's what I have here. This is half a liter of water. This is hard enough in one sitting. So imagine multiplying this times about 4, and that's how much mustard you're drinking in one sitting.
I can better visualize this. So, this is what you'd be drinking. Only of mustard and not delicious mixed crystal light.
Yeah, so toothpaste all the way. I mean, on the one hand, yeah, it might be fun to try that, but again, I don't know what I'm eating. Maybe a gallon of mustard would be necessary if I'm having the entire banquet and I can spread it on, all the hamburgers and all the hot dogs and all that.
Yeah, it doesn't say how you have to, but that's still a gallon of mustard. All right, ready for mine. Would you rather eat your hands and feet or eat your whole dad? Of course, I get the weird ones.
That's morbid.
All right. Would I rather eat my whole dad or eat my hands and feet? Well, from a logical standpoint, it would be much safer and less harming to my dad if I just ate my hands and feet. The question is still horrible, though.
Okay, well, here's the simple answer: clone yourself and eat your clone's hands and feet. They're genetically
Oh,
the same as yours.
yes, but that's inflicting torture on another person, which is what I'm trying to avoid by eating my dad.
Well, you can also put your clone into cryogenic storage so that you can have his liver.
That's still harming another being, which I view as morally
It's
wrong.
you. It's still you.
It's another person if it's not this body.
It's still you.
It's a different person. Again, I am this person. My clone is its own separate identity.
Hardly. Unless you give it something completely different to learn, it is the same person. At
It
least as far
is
as I'm
it is
concerned.
it is a different person, and we can go on philosophically about that as a bonus stream. Ready for your
Yeah,
question?
maybe. Yeah. Would you rather live in a world where everything is written in Comic Sans or live in a world where the only music that existed was Call Me Maybe? Comic Sans, hands down, because Call Me Maybe, hell no. The song is
Uh,
good, don't get me wrong, but just hell no. That's the only music? I'm a musician, I write music. Hell no.
I would love for the Undertale people to go live a life where everything is narrated by Sans.
Eh, doesn't really appeal to me, but at the same time, it's better than the alternative over there.
All right.
Whoever thought that up is just inciting torture.
Would you rather be a shark or be a dolphin? Dolphin, hands down, they have sentience.
Somewhat.
Ready for yours?
Yep. Okay, would you rather be a character in Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter? Never saw Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings.
You get the easy ones.
They're all pretty easy, actually. It's just that we're going into detail on them.
Well, not knowing the Harry Potter franchise as well as I do past like the first three books.
Well, to be fair, I never read the books of Lord of the Rings. I picked up The Hobbit once, and I got about 5 pages in, but then I was called away, and I didn't really care where the story was going in the book, so I never picked it up again. I need to read them though.
Yeah, I've distanced myself from both franchises because pretty much everything has been spoiled for me.
Oh, you mean
And
like Star Wars?
well, I actually saw the original three Star Wars, and then I watched the new three. I haven't seen the last one, and I've done my best to avoid it since I already know how it ends. But that feeling of the mystery being taken away, that's a horrible feeling, and I don't want to do that towards other people.
Oh yeah, by the way, the end of Lord of the Rings is
Oh, you better
don't.
not.
I'm not going to I'm not going to lower myself to that level. It's just a joke. Don't worry about it.
All right, my question. Would you rather go to a distant planet or travel through time? Well, that's an interesting one because that assumes that your motion through time is kept relative to where the planet actually is. If you just travel through time, you'll find that you're no longer on Earth because the Earth is moving.
Actually, yeah, I never thought about it quite like that, but yeah, time travel is a pretty broken concept when you add that bit in.
But your spiel about, assume the intent of the question rather than trying to literally break away from the box these two red and blue boxes are. Go to a distant planet. Well, okay. Snap your fingers. You're on Venus, except for you don't have a spacesuit. You are now dead horribly.
I
So
can
I would assume that traveling through time has, the time anchor where you're kept where you are, relativity, wherever you are through time.
Relatively where you
Yes.
are.
And go to a
Well,
distant planet is you have a spacesuit and or can survive on said other planet. Go ahead.
what you can break this question down to is go to another planet that's No Man's Sky or travel through time, Back to the Future, where both somewhat follow the rules of physics, but they also say screw the rules. Traveling through time in itself is just completely impossible based on the physical realm, based on uh, the movement of time, stuff like that. And so they just said, right, just keep it stationary on Earth. So time moves relative to Earth, which makes no sense whatsoever.
All right, go to a distant planet. Now, my other way to break the box is, does it have to be of this universe?
Yes.
I don't see exactly where it says that the distant planet has to be a part of this universe.
Well, how can it be a distant planet if it's part of a different dimension or realm?
Because technically it just says a distant planet. It doesn't say of this universe. You could go to, Total Recall's version of Mars.
Or more accurately, you could enter into the realm of any other movie or game. Okay, I want to go to the Earth of The Last of Us.
And the
Yeah,
problem here,
this
see,
gets really weird.
and it gets worse because it doesn't say that you have any intention or method to return.
You're right. I would say, well, it's not my question.
Go ahead with I would say because I commonly suggest what I would say upon yours.
I would say go to a distant planet, just simply because you brought up if you can travel into different realms. Well, okay, video game realm, and then pick a realm inside there, and or not pick a realm inside there, pick a planet inside there that technically exists but technically can't exist. As I brought up The Last of Us, but go to any other variation of Earth. Uh, Grand Theft Auto Earth,
No,
any other kind of Earth, I don't know.
I would go to a distant planet, and I agree. And that is apparently the super, not the majority.
Super minority.
Yeah. Yours? Are you ready?
Yeah. Okay, would you rather have a lisp or have a lazy eye? Technically, I already have a lisp, but it's only through certain uh, microphones. I'd say have a lisp because lazy eye is just really distracting when you're talking to someone, and lisp is mildly annoying.
I agree. And it's part of the majority.
Cool.
Yeah, I can't, I'm ADD as a part of my autism spectrum. And having somebody have a lazy eye makes me just super paranoid because basically my body's like, oh, they're looking at you. My old teacher at high school for special ed, Miss Hucky, had a lazy eye, and yeah, I was completely paranoid. Moving on to my question: would you rather work 10 hours a day, 4 days a week, or work 8 hours a day, 5 days a week? There was a work schedule basis thing for 10 times 4 versus 8 times 5.
Well, if it helps any, my brother works 8-5, and then I have another friend who works 10-4s, and or no, 4-10s. My brother works 5-8s, and my friend works 4-10s, and they get paid pretty much the same. But the thing is, if you work 10 hours a day, that extra 2 hours really helps out if they call you in for another day. Because what happens is they have to pay you overtime after 40 hours. So if you're working 10 hours a day for 4 days a week, what you're inevitably doing is you're guaranteeing yourself eventually they're going to need you for that fifth day. So that fifth day, you make bank.
Yeah, and I'm excluding any kind of job because it just says what is your preference for work days. I
Oh,
would
you
pick
work in the
10.
chocolate factory. You work in Willy Wonka's chocolate factory.
I would still pick 10-4, and because not only because of the overtime thing, but simply because I'm much better if you give me one long task versus many short ones.
Same.
Majority, yay.
All right,
Ready for
my turn.
yours? Ready?
Yeah. Okay, would you rather have the sense of smell of a dog or have the eyesight of an eagle? Huh. I'd have to say eyesight of an eagle on the grounds of my sense of smell is as good as I care for it to be, and the sense of smell of a dog, I honestly can't see how that would help me in any real world scenario.
Well, I thought, the question would be better phrased have the eyesight of an owl. I thought owls had even better eyesight than eagles.
They technically do because they have to do it at night, but I think it's really par, really just about par. I don't know though.
All
I'd
right.
still say eyesight of an eagle.
Okay. Massive
Really?
majority.
Okay, I didn't expect that. I thought it was going to be like 50-50.
Yeah, and I think the reasoning is the same as yours. The smell of a dog is handy, but it's not noticeable. It's like I've got super touch. I can really feel the molecular details of any object. Well, that's great, but your practical use isn't that great.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so I'm a typist, something like a courtroom stenographer. I can really feel this keyboard. I can tell if this is my keyboard. I don't care, dude. Just do your job. Something like that.
All right, my
Your
turn.
turn. Yeah.
Would you rather be filled in a room with people dying or be the only person in a big empty room? Well, what kind of question is that? Be filled in a room with people dying. Dying of what?
It's a
Am I going to
moral
be.
question.
Would I rather be alone in the universe or in a universe where people die? Well, I would pick
Hmm.
being alone versus watching people suffer and not being able to do anything about it.
It does say, well, it doesn't say that you can't do anything about it, but I think that the implication that they were trying to make here is you're in a room full of people dying, so you assume something like, say, the
You're
Holocaust.
next. Yeah, you're next.
Yeah, gas chamber Holocaust. You're going to die with them. You are also one of the people dying. So being the only person in a big empty room makes much more sense, even though standard human feeling is the desire to be with someone.
And, thinking, be the only person in the big empty room. That's basically what my place is, only there's stuff back over that way. Nothing changes. And supermajority.
Sweet.
Ready for yours?
Shall we do one more each?
Two more each.
Fair enough. All right, give it to me. Okay, never be able to eat Chipotle again, or never eat dessert again. Okay, what's the repercussion if I eat Chipotle or dessert? I'm missing context here.
How about you're allergic to it and die immediately?
I don't think
You, you,
that's possible to get away from Chipotle like that. I live in the West. Mexican food is all around me.
and I live even more west than you do, and Chipotle isn't really a big thing here.
Yeah, there. Need I remind you, I live in Las Vegas.
Yeah, need I remind you I live in Oregon.
That's much more vague, but yes.
And
Okay,
Las Vegas is even more vague because that doesn't imply that you live in paradise versus the casinos and stuff.
there's actually quite a few districts here. There's Paradise, there's Industrial, there's Clark County. There's quite a few of them.
Yeah, and Oregon is pretty vague on its own, sure. The Dalles is even more vague because most people think it's farmland and it's not. I did live on a cherry orchard at one time, completely isolated from most people.
Okay, well, back to the question. I think I would rather say Chipotle.
And I would pretty much agree with you because what if you had Chipotle for dessert? Dun dun dun. No, because dessert is very vague. What would be considered dessert?
Well, if I can choose what's considered dessert, then yeah, give me dessert. Then I'll consider nothing dessert, and nothing will ever hurt me again. At least, not in a fatal way. But for the
Yeah,
sake of argument,
it doesn't
Chipotle.
yeah, it doesn't really say what dessert is. So by implication, breakfast can be dessert.
Or contrariwise, nothing can be dessert. Go ahead.
At least you're in the super majority. Would you rather kill someone you hate and get caught or kill someone you love and never get caught? Well, that depends on hate versus love. Am I allowed to change who I hate and who I love the very moment I wanted to kill them?
Probably. It says someone that you hate, which immediately implies that you can hate them this very second. And that makes you public, or no, that makes them public enemy number one.
Well, kill someone you love and never get caught. It would be the better option by all cases then.
Well, if you're assured never to get caught, well, define never get caught. Does that mean I can go into a confessional and say, look, I killed this person? And he's just going to go, ha ha, ha, yeah, that's a good one. Get out.
Original sin, I've heard it. Nah. Because by that, if you can pick the person, which someone you love versus someone you hate, if it's not instantaneous, that is, it has to be somebody that I actually love versus somebody I actually hate at the very moment this click happens, then someone you love. Because you can love thine enemy.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'd have to go with that. And it's going to be the super minority because, of the implication that I'm allowed to pick who I love at this very moment and then go kill them and never ever get caught about it.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that because on the one hand, you can just walk up to someone and say, I love you. You're my best friend. And the next second, they've keeled over and died. You didn't even have to do anything.
They suffered critical existence failure.
All right,
Ready for
next one.
yours?
Yeah. Okay, would you rather break your leg or break your arm? Hmm. This is a little bit vague on the account of it doesn't say which arm. I, like most people, am right handed. So, if I break my arm and it immediately implies that I break my right arm, well, that's just no good because then I have to relearn how to write and I have to relearn how to do absolutely everything. However, it doesn't say that it's permanent. So, okay, break your arm. Can I have my arm broken while I'm already in the ER for something else? Can they just fix that as well?
I'm holding quiet for a little bit, and I can't keep quiet. I actually broke my right arm twice when I was like 3 and 4, and it comes down to I'm left-handed simply because of breaking my arm when I was that young, and I had to learn to do everything with my left hand.
You're not a natural lefty at all.
No, I'm not.
You lied
That's
to
why
me.
I'm
No, you didn't.
ambidextrous technically. I just can't. I use my right arm for things that require power, like say shooting a gun and having to hold it, and I use my left arm for things that require fine detail, like writing.
Writing requires fine detail. What fantasy world do you live in?
Holding a pencil and then making legible like letters. My
You could just say
calligraphy is
legible notation.
my calligraphy is really bad. Okay, I've been told I write like a doctor, which is very illegible and lots of it.
I'm told that I write like a child, and that my letters are very approximate, and I don't actually have the same look to all my letters. It's not like if you look at here where it has an A, I don't do that with my A, uh, up and then back down and around, and then another one I do just a circle with a tail. I don't do stuff like that, but my stuff is just very approximate because I'm much more of a typist than I am an actual physical writer. But to
Yeah,
answer the question, like ignoring all implications, leg.
alrighty. I'll go on for leg versus arm. So, breaking your leg, that implies complete immobility. You break your leg, you have to go do crutches. If I were to break my leg, I've got 3 flights of stairs. I got to go down to do anything, like go shopping. That's 3 flights of stairs. Going upstairs with crutches with my weird staircase that goes down 180 degrees, that would be nearly impossible to do on crutches. Breaking my arm, I can still walk around. I can still get from place to place. But having my arm broken twice now with simple fractures right about here, yeah, I've been there. I've done that. I have both my blue and green cast. Breaking your arm isn't that bad because it's not as debilitating. Other than it really, really feels like you're slicing your arm off when you try to go this way with it. That was about the only thing I really felt other than sharp pain. Breaking your leg, I've tripped and fallen many, many times. I've had my legs come out from underneath me and I've sprained my foot repeatedly. If that were a break, that would be horrible. Not to mention, I can't walk like I could breaking my arm.
But like I say, with modern technology the way that is, it doesn't say that's permanent either.
It also doesn't
So
say simple fracture versus compound fracture.
it says break. I think
Yeah,
break is on a
no,
different level than
no,
fracture.
no. You can no. The technical medical term is fracture, and simple fracture just means your bone broke. Compound fracture means the bone penetrated your skin.
Okay, well, assuming that, I'd still prefer my leg because even a fracture will heal over time, assuming it's a simple fracture.
Yeah.
Bones do grow back sometimes.
Would I rather be knocked out by Mike Tyson or not be knocked out by Muhammad Ali? Well, if we're playing Punch Out, knocked out by Mike Tyson, just because, well, technically it could be Mr. Dream, depending on your version of the NES game. But if it's that, I'd rather be knocked out by Mike Tyson because I don't know the Muhammad Ali fight in Punch Out. I'm sure that there's some ROM hacker with insane skills that has programmed that. But how well do you know boxing?
I only know the names. Mike Tyson and Muhammad Ali, I'll be honest, I've heard of, but I don't really care about boxing. So, Muhammad Ali, I recall, was one of the greatest, and if I recall correctly, was the first black. At least the first black to be the champion of the world.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know for sure if that's true, but that's what I seem to recall. I also seem to recall that was in 1933. But again, I don't know for sure.
Yeah, and when it comes to things like boxing, I'm mostly in the dark. All my boxing experience comes from Punch Out.
I played a few boxing games in my life, but Mike Tyson and Muhammad Ali were not in there. They were more of underground boxing games,
Mm.
and even then, they were more along the lines of WWE, where the rules are fuzzy at best.
That's wrestling, not boxing.
Yes. So I probably know less than you do.
Yeah, it's easy to confused, especially if you've basically had no experience with the genre whatsoever. I'm not a huge wrestling fan, just because I never really got TV as a kid, and wrestling was just a boring show compared to cartoons. I probably could get into it now, but again, it would basically be, me sitting here watching people dance in the ring. I don't, that's basically the same thing as boxing, but I'm not into PvP fighting. So I'd say Mike Tyson, assuming my knowledge that it's with a video game. And I'm in a minority. Your
Barely.
last question.
All right, go. Okay. If you were trapped in a cage, would you be rather trapped with a tame tiger or trapped with a rabid squirrel? Well, even tame tigers can and will attack people if they are mistreated. However, a rabid squirrel will always attack you regardless. So I'd say with a tamed tiger.
Completely agree. Majority.
How did 23% of people. How long do we have to go before we get 100-0?
Well, we'd probably have to do the enable all questions thing, and it would just be, one vote.
Ah, okay.
Would you rather eat your favorite DVD in 20 minutes or eat 100 tissues in 20 minutes?
You can eat DVDs?
Yeah, I was going to say, what are they, made of chocolate now?
No, they're still made of silicon
100
or something.
tissues. 100 tissues versus a DVD. I would pick the DVD just because that would be easier to actually break down. When I did my little work job at Strut, part of our job was breaking CDs in half. And it was quite fun to wear super thick padded gloves and then take a CD and force and then watch it splinter. And, if it's just your favorite DVD, the question then becomes, do I have to eat the containers too? With the tissues, it's just extra cardboard. With the DVD, that's the entire case.
No, you wouldn't have to eat the extra stuff because it says DVD. DVD in itself means digital video disc. It's just the disc.
Yeah, the 100 tissues. That's just again getting into the open interpretations of it.
Okay, so here's a CD case. I'm not going to divulge what this is for legal reasons, but say for example you wanted me to eat this. This is for argument's sake my favorite DVD. This is going to be a lot harder for me to ingest than 20 tissues.
100 tissues.
100 tissues. Okay, sorry.
For me, it's the exact opposite. 100 tissues um, would be a little bit harder. A DVD, I can probably chew up with my strong teeth. 100 tissues is, you actually have to worry about your 20 minutes.
Not really. It doesn't say that you can't have help. And if you wrap stuff around the tissues, it helps a lot.
Yes, but I could, if I'm allowed that, I could grind the crap out of the DVD and then sprinkle it in a cup noodles.
Fair enough. All right, so that was the Electronic Galaxy update number 28. No, 29. I'm sorry.
29.
Do we have to redo the whole thing now,
Oh
Master?
God.
Do we have to
You
have
made
more
you
fun?
made one mistake. You made one mistake. We're doing it over. No, we're not. Jesus. I'm not that strict. The only times we do that is if it's right at the start. This
Yeah,
is
and
right
that's
at
why
the
we
end.
do live streams. Okay, so to recap, things happened, things were said, we had a good time. I think that this went really well.
This went rather smoothly.
I'm
Do
looking
we
at the
have
stream
any
over here, and
do we have any plans for the next one?
uh, not that I'm aware of, but
We'll
30.
we'll probably go back to will you push the button for next one then, because I'm having fun with doing these.
Yeah, and as long as we don't run out of good questions anytime soon, it's a pretty good way to pass the time.
And we'll see
All
if
right.
we can remember whether or not we answered the questions. That'll come into play.
I'm pretty good at remembering what I've seen. It's like, okay, let's see. I think I remember this. A few minutes later, he says something very key. Okay, yeah, I seen it. I seen this episode. Next episode, something like
Well,
that.
if it's like an episode with sound, I can do that. When it comes to text questions, I might not remember them a month from now.
Well, anyway, thank you all for watching. We hope to see you again next time, or yeah, you know what I mean. But
We'll see you in update number 30.
yes, look forward to it. We're going to plan on doing something rather special. And if we don't, well, then it's back to will you press the button? And if that doesn't happen, if the internet somehow doesn't exist, then there will be no update. At least not with him. It'll just
Yeah,
be me.
well, actually, no. We'd be using a landline, and nobody will ever like a tape recorder.
Landline and tape recorder. Yeah, how's this going to work? Okay, so I mailed it to him. He mailed it back to me. Yeah, it took like 3 months to get all this together.
Well,
Most of the
clearly, you don't remember that cassette tapes were like 30 minutes and had two sides.
the ones I had were 90 minutes and had two sides.
Oh, even better then. Geez, tapes moved on. I used to get tapes from the when they were, you'd get four tapes for $1, and they were 30 minutes, two sides.
Well, before we get off onto another tangent, thank you very much for watching. This is Ajayla. Over
I'm
and out.
Delta.